Hey, this is Tammy and I do Math for Coffee. Today we're going to learn how to write in scientific notation, which looks like this right here. We use scientific notation when we want to talk about numbers that are really, really big or really, really small, and they have a lot of zeros in them, and we don't want to write all those zeros. It uses this idea. If you take a number, let's say 5, take it times 10, which is 10 to the first power, you get a 50. If I take that 5 times 100, which is 10 to the second power, I get 500. And if I take that 5 times 1,000, which is 10 to the third power, you get 5,000. As we increase these exponents on the 10, you're going to get bigger numbers. Let's look at big numbers first. Step 1, move the decimal point from the back of the number to behind the first digit. So right now there would be a decimal point there. We move it back however many we need to move it back so that it's between the 1 and the 2. And then we rewrite this number as 1.27. Step 2, we're going to take this and we're going to multiply it times 10 to the number of times we move that point. And we move this point 6 spots. So this is 1.27 times 10 to the 6th. This is now in scientific notation. If you're doing this for really little numbers, they look like this. There'll be a 0 point and then a lot of digits that come after, but usually a lot of zeros. Very small numbers. Step 1, we move the decimal point from the front of the number to behind the first non-zero digit, which would be here between the 1 and the 2. So that becomes 1.27. Now here's what's going to be interesting. Step 2 is you're going to multiply this times 10 to the power of how many times you move the point. But, this is a big but, the exponent is negative. You can't use a positive number like big numbers. You have to use a negative number for a little number. So this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we would have negative 6 as our exponent. Okay, just to recap before you have to start doing this. For very big numbers, your exponents will be positive. For very little numbers, your exponents will be negative. Here are some problems I want for you to try on your own. Pause the video. If you're taking notes, put these in your notes. I'll be right back to show you the answers. $67,800 turned into scientific notation is 6.78 times 10 to the fourth. I had to move that decimal place 4 places. I know this is a big number, so it's a positive 4. 325 is 3.25 times 10 to the second power. 2004 is 2.004 times 10 to the third power. And what is this? 31 billion? It is the distance from the Earth to Pluto, I think, but in scientific notation, it is 3.1 times 10 to the 10th. The distance to Pluto would be in miles. All right, do it again. This time we're going to do scientific notation for very small numbers. Pause the video. I'll be right back. .6. I only have to move that decimal place once, so it's 6 times 10 to the negative 1 power. Remember, this is a small number, so it's a negative power. You are less than 1 here. Okay, this little decimal, the point only needs to be moved twice, so you should have gotten 8.055 times 10 to the negative 2. 9.7 times 10 to the negative 5. 3.1 times 10 to the negative 10. All right, I'd like for you to try to go the other direction. Here I'm giving you 4 numbers that are in scientific notation. Pause the video and see if you can write them in standard, which is normal. Write them like their normal number form. .56 times 10 to the second power is going to be 256, and I just moved the decimal place 2 places. Again, I'm making these numbers bigger. These are positive exponents. So for 3.508 times 10 to the 6th, this decimal has to get moved 6 places. So I'm going to start by just writing the number and then put my little loopy loopies in there so I can see how many zeros I need. This turns out to be 3,508,000. 6.67 is also going to be a very large number. And so I write the number first, and then I put the loopy loopies in so I can see how many zeros I need. You just move the decimal place 5 places, and we end up with 700,004. I want you to do the same thing again, except now we're talking about small numbers. These are negative exponents, so you move that decimal place up in front of the numbers so they become very small decimals. Pause the video and go. 7 times 10 to the negative 2, you start with 7, and you move that decimal place forward 2 places, so you ended up with 0.07. 3.5 times 10 to the negative 1, you move the decimal place once, apparently very slowly, and we end up with 0.35. 4.047, I start out by just writing the digits, and then I move my point, fill in any zeros that I need to fill in, and that's what you end up with. Same thing here. I'm going to start with a 6, do my loopy loopies until I get all the zeros I have to have, and that would be that number. The next lesson is how to add or subtract two numbers that are written in scientific notation. I will put a link to it right here. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in that next video. Bye.